What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of FS4T, the podcast. My name is Chris, and welcome. This is going to be a fun episode. We've got a great guest, as we always do. We have taken so many painstaking measures to get great people on this great show for our great students. And today's no exception, because we have got my good buddy that I've known for quite a long time, Jason Carney. Now, Jason Carney is the director of the Phoenix Film Festival. That's a big thing. And so he's going to give us some insight, some great insight into the importance of film festivals and the importance of networking and what he looks for, he and his team look for in submitted films for the festival. So pay attention, take some notes, listen closely, and welcome Jason Carney. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jason Carney, Phoenix Film Festival director, who I've known for I don't know how many years.
I feel like 10, maybe not 10, but
I don't know.
It might be getting there, man.
It could be more because I started in 2007.
Okay, so it's probably in between 10 and 15 then.
Wow.
Oh man, that's crazy.
But I'm excited to have you on because you've got a very unique position, right? And what you do as a festival director. And it's not, a small time festival. Phoenix Film Festival, you have taken from small to being this very robust, something that so many people look forward to. And now, I think back in, maybe 2012, 13 is when I really started to see bigger movies, bigger films premiering, and movies with some big actors, Nicolas Cage, Penn and Teller coming in for,
yeah.
I mean, I never heard Teller talk before, so that was kind of cool. But so it's really evolved into this very high level, very respectable festival that I'm impressed and happy to say I've been a part of in a small way.
Yeah.
But, in a way, it's been a lot of fun to see the growth and evolution of it.
Yeah, we've been really, fortunate over the years as it's grown, and just being able to, we take great care of our filmmakers. And that's really, the kind of the secret sauce to this whole thing, and giving them an opportunity to showcase their film in a great theater. The Harkin Scottsdale 101 is really just state of the art stuff, and filmmakers are just kind of blown away by that. But also the opportunities that you get at a film festival for filmmakers. It's not just like you show up and watch a movie. It's the whole question and answer session that we do after the film with the filmmakers, and the opportunities that we give the filmmakers to network. And that's a big thing. They come to the festival and they make lifelong friends. We have filmmakers that have been friends. I was just talking to one that has a film in this year's festival about somebody who had one in 3 years, but we haven't seen her in 15 years, and she has a new film. And she's still friends with people she met at the festival that long ago.
Cool.
And so and they work together. They meet here, they end up collaborating and working, on future films. And so that's a sneaky element for a filmmaker. As you're getting into a film festival, you want to, do that element where you're networking and meeting other filmmakers, because these are people that you may want to use in your future projects, or they might work with you. And so film is such a collaborative experience. And so you start to watch other people's films, and you're like, oh, this guy's great, or this guy, whoever did his music or his sound is awesome. And you meet these people and talk to them. And in the case of Bethany, she's made, a studio film, she's made some music videos, and so she's got a music video we're showing this year. And so, it's that ongoing relationship that we have with filmmakers that sets us apart. And the relationships we build with the studios also helps us, the quality of films you mentioned that we showed. Last year, our opening night movie was Coda, which is crazy great. And, it's a Best Picture nominee, and Troy Kotzer, the supporting actor who's nominated, he's from here. He grew up in the Mesa area. I think he lives in Queen Creek. And so he was here for the festival. And so it was such a great night. And then for them to have these nominations, it's just the cherry on the sundae there. And so those relationships are what, has helped us, evolve into a bigger festival. And so, filmmakers know they can trust us. Studios know they can trust us because their films are going to be shown at a great theater. We're going to have good audiences. Our audiences are not only there in numbers, but they're like participatory. They want to, when the lights go off, they want every movie to be great. Like everybody's on the same side. That doesn't happen in a lot of places right now, where you like go in and everybody's okay, I want this movie to be great. We're all rooting for it. It's not, there's not a lot of preconceived notions at a festival. You're going in kind of blind because you don't know, like a lot of these films, you don't know the people in it. And then you're like, maybe you're experiencing the next great big thing. And like, while Coda was Apple Films, they got it out of Sundance and it did great at Sundance. It wasn't like huge on everybody's radar because it didn't have like a huge, Marlee Matlin's in it and Troy's done a few supporting things. But like the essence of a festival is opportunities to see films like that and to see, this film that was, it played Sundance, so it was a pretty high profile indie, but like to see it go to Oscar nominated Best Picture, that's insane. And to be part of that for us is really amazing. We've had opportunities like a few years ago, we had Boyhood, the Richard Linklater picture. That was our closing night movie. So that was another one where we had, a Best Picture nominee come out of our festival. And so it's those little things that pop up that just, make us happy. But it's, it's the work we put in. You got to take care of your filmmakers, you got to take care of your audience. And that's the kind of our approach on it.
That's great. And that relationship aspect, I think, is super awesome, because the times that I was there, you guys have that massive tent for cocktail hours and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you still do that, but it sounds like
it comes back this year.
Oh, good.
Making a triumphant return after the COVID break.
Well, I had a conversation, not too long ago with Julian Slater, sound editor and mixer, and he said the most important thing in this industry is relationships. That he moved from London to Los Angeles so that he could do Ant-Man with Edgar Wright, which ended up not happening. And then he said it was like he had to restart his whole career because he didn't have relationships with Los Angeles people, mostly London. But, he's Oscar nominated and doing just fine.
Yeah. But it's that step you got to take, you've got to be open to it. And I'm the first to admit I'm terrible at it. Like out of my element, I'm not great at networking. So, it's not easy to do, but you just got to like force yourself to do it, especially, if you're a young filmmaker, it can be a little intimidating. But here's the great thing about like independent filmmakers is they want to help the other independent filmmakers. They want to help like the next generation of filmmakers. It's not like, oh, you're my competition. It's nothing like that. They want to like, they wish that they had somebody
I don't have that
like them, like giving them advice and giving them, their thoughts on their films and things like that. And so like never be intimidated by, those filmmakers. If you go to a film festival and, there's this guy that's, has this really cool feature and you think that, you just admire and you love it, like don't be afraid to ask questions and talk about it, because that's a reason they're at the festival. And so if they can, give wisdom to young filmmakers, they're going to do it in a heartbeat. It's never like, we've never had filmmakers, when we do educational things for students at the festival, nobody ever turns that down. They always say yes.
Yeah, I mean that's technically like and what you said specifically about everybody that's attending wants that movie to be good.
But it's like
I remember, just me personally being in the auditoriums and never seeing a cell phone turn on. These people are invested. They don't want the distraction. They don't want to distract other people. Everybody's there for the same reason, and that camaraderie, that unity that cinema brings is just, it's so heartwarming to me as just a movie freak. And seeing that, and he said it so perfectly, because I don't know, maybe 5 days ago, I got to be involved in a virtual research screening, and they didn't tell us the name of the movie until right before it started. And full disclosure, I'm not allowed to tweet and talk about it, but I can say it to you, right? Because I'm sure the announcement of this movie will be done by the time this episode is out, that they say we're watching Pet Sematary 2. Oh. I'm like, this will be a garbage movie. And so just that idea of how my mentality went from, oh, I'm so excited, what if it's Nope? you know, because
Right.
I
Yeah,
knew it was
yeah.
going to be a horror movie, but and because based on the questions that they asked, I'm like, oh, if it's that, I'll be super stoked. And then, oh, it's this. I'm like, nah.
Here
I
we
went,
go.
I went full Roy Kent from Ted Lasso.
Right.
Just so, so let me ask you this: our students, at the whether they are part of the intro to filmmaking or advanced filmmaking, at the end of their semester, they have a short film that they have to make and turn in. If it's the intro, it's the same script that we write. If it's advanced filmmaking, they're coached along the way, and we help them develop their own script. You as a festival director, right, and your team that you've assembled that watches all the movies, the submissions, what do you guys look for in terms of something to get a thumbs up to be part of it or not?
There's a lot of factors. Story is gigantic. You've got to have flow to your film. It's got to you've got to tell a story. You have to have that arc. You got to have, and not all arcs are the same. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of go like this, but you've got to have a beginning, middle, and you've got to have some motivation going on in the movie. Your characters have to be involved and genuine. It's a big deal. Have actors that are giving genuine performances, sincerity. The technical elements are huge. Sound is gigantic. Your sound has to be clean. And if you're, as you're preparing, you got to keep that in mind. Like, it's great to have your shot list, but make sure you have somebody just zoned in and focused on sound. Otherwise, it's so hard to clean up afterwards. And, if you're cleaning it up afterwards, take your time, make sure it's perfect, because if you're hearing stuff on your computer when you're editing, it's going to be that much worse, in an auditorium. It's just something that's unforgivable. But those are the key things. It's just like those basics, get the basics down, make sure, if you're shooting a night scene, make sure it's lit still. You know what I mean? We need to see what's going on. So lighting is critical. It's just about having a good story and telling it, and part of telling your story is making sure audiences can see it, hear it, and there's sincere delivery from your actors.
Sure.
And it seems like basic, but it's also a lot. And it's just getting it right and taking the time to get it right. When you're telling your story and you're making your film, think about when you're editing, are these things advancing your story and your film? It might be great that there's a scene that you love, but maybe it just doesn't move things along, and you need to cut it and need to have that that ability to distance yourself and make those really hard cuts, or those shots that just don't do you any good, that maybe you spent 2 or 3 hours setting up the shot and it just doesn't work, and it just doesn't advance the film. You've got to abandon stuff, and it's so hard. It's not easy. And editing, I can't imagine being an editor. I like to get things done and move on with my life.
Oh,
but
no, the editing
editing is just work and looking at the same thing over and over, which is my kryptonite. I need to just get on with my life. And so I have so much respect for people they're editing, and people that are writing the same way. You've got to hammer out that script, make sure it's tight before you shoot it. It's great to have an idea and you have a cool idea, but you've got to give your idea the respect of writing a real script and making sure everything is tight. Have somebody look at it and give their opinion, somebody who's not your best friend, who's going to always be your yes person. You know what I mean? You have to have people that are not afraid to say no to you, when they look at your script and when they look at your film. It's people get so upset. They're like, oh, you didn't select my film, but I did a screening and everybody loved it. Were your friends and family and your cast and crew there? Yeah. Well, they're not gonna be honest with you. And that's a challenge. And so get people that are going to be honest with you around you, and and make sure when they give you that honest feedback that you can take it sincerely and be able to still be friends with them. They're there, if you want them to truly help you, that's what you've got to do. You've got to be able to take that criticism. So
I think that goes hand in hand. No, it's okay. I think that goes hand in hand with you talking about, these other filmmakers that truly do want to help other filmmakers.
Right.
And you can establish these connections and relationships and show people, your film, and they can give you honest, critical feedback. and it be received, hopefully, well. And I think that's one thing that I think is cool when you hear of these big time directors that are like, yeah, he showed me this movie at this time, and I gave him some suggestions, and they actually did it, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, oh, that's cool that these even the big time players aren't looking at other people like, no, you're going to try to direct this movie that I want to direct. Not happening. I want to talk to you. But instead it's more collaborative, which I love, because that's what I mean. Making a movie is a giant collaboration of all these artists and all different facets. And
if you can find a friend that loves to edit and you trust them, let them edit your film. Like, just be able to let go. Like, all these, big time directors, they have editors that they trust, and let them edit their films. And like, that kind of helps toss their egos aside and make and create the film that should be created sometimes. Like, obviously they're going to get input and things like that. It's not like Spielberg is done with it and never looks at it again.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm sure, they're going back and forth and they have rapport. And so if you can find an editor that has rapport with you, and you can bounce each other ideas off each other. But like, I think that's another piece of the collaborative spirit of filmmaking that if you can put in place, you should, for sure.
So from your perspective, what aspect of filmmaking is always has the least attention to detail from independent films that are submitted? So which area is the weakest executed, I guess?
Overall, like, the films that we probably reject the most are probably like production values. Like, just bad sound is huge. Like bad sound is an automatic, like, we can't play this film. Like there's a difference between like handheld camera and like bouncing around camera. That's a big thing. And it's just like, you get really bad cuts in the editing process. So like, production values, there's you can make a really good production value movie on a low budget. It's easy. People do it all the time. Yep. You have to be patient and take your time on it, but it's huge. Like, it's an easy like disqualifier when we're looking at films, and sometimes people forget about that. They're just so wound up about getting the shot and making the movie that they forget about like all the pre and all the post. Like, I've never made a movie in my life, but I know, like, for this festival to be successful, we have to do everything we can before the festival to have it run like we need it to run. And so just spend a ton of time on pre-production, and that'll make so many more things run better during the actual production that you won't have to worry, like making sure, like, okay, I've got the sound guy, he's on lock, or this woman who's amazing at sound, let's get her in here. I can trust her, she's going to do a great job. Spend that time making sure you have the right people in place. Not just like, oh, I guess we need somebody to run sound. It's not going to go great. So,
yeah, we we do a film once or twice a year with a school here in the Valley, and they don't do a play, theater play. They do a movie. So they give us the budget, we write, and we use their students, hold auditions for other students, throughout the Valley at schools. And so we produce our own short film, and then we showed it at Norterra. And so we just did that in January. And so my biggest involvement this year was sound design for post. And that was so much harder than I expected it to be, to actually have good sound.
Right.
Because there's so many times I've seen, student films or just independent films where they don't do actual Foley, and they just grab sound effects from, Audio Jungle or whatever it is, and they just toss it in, and it's blatantly obvious it's not mixed. There's no attempt to make it sound natural.
Right.
And it pulls you out so much. It hurts my soul.
Yeah. And those can be like amazing tools if you use them right. You know what I mean? Like, using those things to incorporate your sound. But if you're not like mixing it right, or not even, like, you can just bungle it so easy. Like, you think, oh, this is an easy way to go. I'll just grab this and I'll be great. Well, you gotta take that time and fix it. And we have the same thing. We run summer camps. We have like 4 or 5 summer camps every year. And at the end of the week, we've made a film. And so at the end of all the camps, we show them in the theater, and then we've had the, similar experiences of that. And, it's different versus, the 101 camp versus the advanced camp, because advanced, they have 2 weeks. And so you get a little bit more specific, but it's a tricky thing. And, it's hard, and it's not easy. It's hard for students to focus down. And sometimes you just want to make a movie that's fun, and that's okay too. Like, maybe it's not a film you're going to submit to festivals, but you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to grow and get better at it. Like, not every film you make needs to go to a film festival or be shown on the big screen, but it's great to get the experience and do things that bring joy to the filmmaking process, and you'll get better every single time. Like, even if you have a film that you made great that's in a festival, maybe your next film doesn't get in a festival and it's not as good, but I guarantee you learned something new in the process. And so always, keep it fun and keep it fresh, and it'll show on, it eventually it'll pay off for you, and it'll show on screen too when you're enjoying what you do.
So when it comes to students that may want to submit their short, what is the one piece of advice that you would give them when it comes to submitting? Would it be, don't fear rejection, just submit it? Or, is there any one thing you would suggest? Edit down your running time as tight as you can get it. It's a big deal. If we're programming a group of short films, and you made a 20-minute film, and I have 2 films that are 10 minutes that are maybe right about as good as yours, I'm probably going to play those 2 10-minute movies instead of your 20-minute movie. So keeping your film tight, being able to let go of stuff. And if you have a story that has to be 20 minutes, then it has to be 20 minutes. But I can guarantee you I probably will watch it, and I can find 5 minutes of cuts in it. That's what we do. And, that's why we have to be super discerning. And we do have we have the Arizona Student Film Festival that happens as part of the Phoenix Film Festival. And it's strictly for Arizona students. And there are time limits in terms of running time. And that's intentional to try to keep incentivize these films to be shorter and tighter, and hopefully, provide that educational element of that. Sure. Okay. So last question we ask everybody.
Right.
What's your favorite movie?
Almost Famous is usually my stock answer, because I just love it. It's perfect to me. I also love Dazed and Confused. It's just blows me away every time, all these cool little things that happen. But Almost Famous is my answer. I just remember seeing it in a theater. I saw it at the Deer Valley 30 the day it came out.
Oh my gosh.
From the opening credits, when they're the handwritten on the notebook, just that little thing, every time I see it now, just takes me back to singing and being so excited. And how many times you're excited to see a movie and oh, this is going to be the best ever, and it lets you down. That movie did not let me down. And I love movies about music, and just the performances are so that kid Patrick Fugit is so heartfelt, and it's genuine, sincere acting on screen. Everybody in that movie is so natural. Geez, Philip Seymour Hoffman, man, he's just he has such a small his part is so so smart, so smart and short, but it's perfection. Yeah.
I mean, every movie that he did.
Yeah, he was just one of those actors made everything better.
Along Came Polly, such a mediocre romantic comedy, but every scene he's in,
just
electric.
That guy. Yeah, Stanley Tucci's another one of those dudes.
Oh my gosh.
It's just going to be better. This movie might be garbage, but you know what? Stanley Tucci's going to tear it up, or Philip Seymour Hoffman. Those are those kind of actors that you just love in everything, one way or another. They're going to just blow you away.
Awesome, dude. Well, Jason Carney, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, of course.
For coming on and, giving your wisdom from festival point of view and how beneficial those can be. It's something that's huge. The networking alone, I think, is for filmmakers is massive, and being able to see your film on a big screen, and just the advice and tips you gave, 1 in a million. Thank you.
Yeah, and if students watch this and they have questions oh, should I submit my film to a festival, or should I do this? Just email me. Go to phoenixfilmfestival.com on the contact page. Email me. If you have a question about your film submission, don't be afraid to ask, and don't that's what we're here for. And most festivals will be the same attitudes. They want to help the filmmakers along, and it's definitely our attitude. So, as you get to that point, you're like, oh, I have a question, like, email me. That's what I'm here for. It's my job.
Awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Jason Carney, for coming on the show. And I really hope this has been super beneficial for you guys as listeners, students, filmmakers, aspiring filmmakers. I hope that all the tips that he shared about festivals, what he looks for and his team look for in submitted films, has really helped you guys understand the importance of story, editing, everything, essentially, And I hope this has been good guidance for you guys, because there's no reason you can't make a short, edit it out, and send it up for review to be part of these festivals. Short films. There are so many festivals that occur all over the United States, all over the world, and they have sections for student-based films or just short films. And I would encourage you to do that. And that's what we would love to see. We take so much pride in seeing your guys' creative efforts, and we want to see them, and we want to see you guys succeed. But I hope this was a fun episode. It was a lot of fun for me. It was great catching up with Jason. He's a terrific guy. Again, if you have a question, like he said, email him and ask. So thank you, Jason, for coming on the show. Next week, I say it all the time, it's going to be a great episode. Don't miss out. Until then, go watch something great and go make something great.